If I had to choose one type of film to take with me on a day-to-day shoot, it would be black and white film most of the time. I love it for so many reasons. There's the focus on light and shadow, there is the cost, there is the history of black and white film and street photography with so many photographers that you know the usual suspects like Cartier-Bresson. But if I had to pick one particular film stock of black and white film to take with me every day, which film stock would it be? Let's get into it. Hi, I'm Chris Crease of Creaseworks. I am a photographer and cinematographer based out of the Washington, D.C. area. I've done work with brands like National Geographic, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, and other publications and brands. And today I'm taking a look at what I think would be the best black and white film stock for me to use day to day. So I'm going to be looking for a film stock that I can take with me and I don't have to think too much about it. I feel comfortable with it and I know what I'm going to go get out of it. So with all that said, let's start taking a look at some of the film stocks that I have shot recently, and we can go through the characteristics and see which one I think works best for me, and hopefully at the same time we'll see what might be good for you as well. In general, I'm looking for a film stock that I can feel is flexible, so if I decide to do shoots in the alleyways of DC, or if I decide to go on the metro, on the subway, and take some shots underground, I can also use it there as well and get some unique shots of the architecture on the metro. So we're going to be looking at a few film stocks in this video. Let me know what you'd want to see in the comments if I don't mention a particular film stock, and I would love to try some new ones out. But let's begin with Cinestill Black and White XX, or Cinestill BWXX. So the first film stock I'm going to be looking at is Cinestill's black and white film. It is DX coded for 250. So what that means is that if I put this into a camera that can read the DX code like the Nikon F100 I mentioned in the previous video, it's going to automatically set my ISO rating to 250, which is great. This means that this film is a little bit more sensitive to light. So if I'm shooting in a darker area of the city, say in the subway, on the metro, it is going to be a little bit more sensitive to light. On the other hand, if I am in a shaded alleyway or someplace where light is hitting indirectly, it is still going to render out these details that I capture very nicely. So there are things about this film that I really do love. I love how it tends to show shadow and the details in the shadow. So if something is obscured by, say, an object, you still get a nice contrast where you have rich tones in there, but you still can figure out, okay, there is a highlight here or the shape of an object there that I really love how it renders out on film. When I look at the way that it moves from dark to light, it is just this nice smooth gradient, and it just makes for really beautiful compositions. Considering that this is a cinema film, it looks very beautiful, and it is a film that I have used multiple times. I love how it looks. It's just overall fantastic. The one downside I will say to this particular film stock is that it is a little bit more costly than other options, but you do get a beautiful image out of it. So overall, it is a fair trade-off. You do get what you pay for here. The short version of that is, if you're looking for a film that you want to make something and make images that feel like they're out of a movie, this would be my go-to pick. But there are other options out there. So let's take a look at Kodak Tri-X 400. Kodak Tri-X 400 is legendary for a reason. It has this beautiful contrast. It has these stark blacks, these bright whites, and because it is rated at an ISO of 400, it is very flexible. So I could take this with me underground. I could take this with me in bright conditions and stop down my lens. I can raise my shutter speed. It is extremely versatile, and I do love love how it looks. So when you're talking about the detail of an image, everything is sharp and crisp, and I love that look. It really helps me separate my subject from my background. On top of that, because it is rated at 400 speed, if I decide to put this in another camera like my Olympus XA2 or my Pentax point and shoot, I know that most of the time I am not going to have to fire off the flash in order to get a well-exposed picture, because it is just very versatile and very sensitive to light. So I love how Tri-X works. There is one more option that I wanted to look at, however, in this video. Is an experiment that I've been working on for a little while now, and that's why it's taking a little bit for this video to come out, but I think it is worth it. So the third film stock I'm taking a look at for a daily black and white film is going to be Fujifilm's Acros 100. So I had seen a lot of different images coming out of Acros, especially after using the X-T5's film simulation, and then looking at actual shots on film with Acros and seeing what it looked like at 100. And then I saw something about it when you pushed it 2 stops to 400 and how that looked. So I wanted to try that as well, and I used my Olympus XA2 in order to do that, and the results were they were interesting, to say the least. So what I learned off of this was that it underexposed the image, and that is just a learning curve with this film for me, because I used it in the XA2. I set it to 400 in order to push it 2 stops, and then when I had it developed by Nice Film Club, they pushed it 2 stops in order to get it exposed for what I had metered it for. But because the XA2 uses DX code in order to figure out how fast to fire off the shutter, it calibrated it for what it thought was the correct metering, and my images ended up coming out underexposed. So it was a good learning experiment, but I was able to recover some of the images by taking them into Lightroom and raising the contrast and being able to get what I was looking for compared to what I had seen online of images of Acros shot at 400, and that's what I'm showing you right now. I think that it provides this nice velvety tone to the image, and it's really soft, but it still manages to keep the detail in the image. And so this is something that I would want to try again on my Nikon F100, where I can meter it a little bit better. I can see what I'm doing a little bit more clearly as far as exposure, and just making sure that I give the film enough light in order to render out the details, so that when it is pushed, that everything looks as I had envisioned it. Overall, experimentation aside, I really like how the images feel on this. So it is a film that I think I would keep using in the future. If you want to see more images of what this might look like, either at box speed or push the 400 again, and we could try this again on the Nikon F100. Let me know in the comments. I would love to keep trying to see what I can create with this film stock, because I think that there is some very unique look to how Acros is. Okay, so it's time for the verdict. We have 3 different film stocks at 3 different speeds with 3 different unique looks. Which one am I going to pick for my daily black and white film for street photography? Is it going to be Cinestill with its film look and its nice grain and its beautiful contrast between the lights and the shadows? Is it going to be Kodak Tri-X 400 with its stark contrast and its beautiful blacks and its bright whites? Or am I going to try and make Acros my daily film stock? You probably guessed it by now, but I'm going to go with Kodak Tri-X 400. It is just a beautiful film, and it lines up with exactly how I shoot in digital. So the stark contrast, the rich blacks, the bright whites, the way that it just is sharp, but it still has character to it because of how it renders, and then the lens choices that I have as well. Plus, it also helps that at under $10 a roll, I can get more rolls, and that means more exposures, more chances to experiment. It is just a versatile film at ISO 400 so that I can use it in bright situations with the lens top down. I can use it in dimmer situations. I can push it, I can pull it. It just has everything going for it. Now, that's not to say I won't use the other two film stocks. I think they both have their place in my rotation. So if I'm using Cinestill black and white, it is going to be with way more intent behind it. If I am doing a project or a personal project where I want that specific look, I want it to feel like it's a movie still, that's what I'm going for. If I want to try something that is similar but unique in its own right, I'm going to try Across and Fujifilm and just go with that. And I'll try again to use it both at box speed as well as a 400. But I want to hear, what was the film stock that you felt best resonated with your use and what you might use it for? Please let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you. But that is going to be it for this video. My name is Chris. I am Creaseworks everywhere. If you like this video, be sure to hit like. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, be sure to subscribe, and I will talk to you in the next video. Until then, one.